You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hi, I'm Mr. Producer, and if you are looking to master the sales process and close more deals, aren't we all, then today's episode and Monday's podcast, number 719, are must-listen-to shows. In fact, if you have not listened to part one of Mastering the Art of the Close, I highly encourage you to start there. Now, in part two on today's podcast, Brian and a couple of special guests are going to dive into the nuances of effectively asking for the sale. That's the hard part, isn't it? Well, get ready to learn from their proven techniques and strategies to take your sales skills to the next level. Take it away, Brian.
All right, so picking up on line one, we got Mr. Keith Kalfas. How we doing, brother?
What's up, Brian?
Hey, it's good hearing from you, man. How you been?
Dude, awesome, man. We're crushing it landscaping. The weather's beautiful. We could use a little bit more rain. We're shooting a lot of videos, man. We're doing a tour. I'm excited about Entrepreneur Academy. Crushing it.
Dude, I was going to say, it's been a minute since I got to connect with you on the phone. Probably about 2-3 months. I know we get to touch base a couple times a year. Not as much as I'd love, no doubt about that. But yeah, when's the next time we're going to film some videos, man? I got to get out there with you and let's go shoot some content. I can't wait. First off, super excited about having you join us in Novi, Michigan in about 6 weeks. November 2nd, Novi, Michigan, Entrepreneur Academy Live. Last minute ad, we secured him. He's coming in. Super excited about that. Mr. Keith Kalfas, you excited about sharing again, brother?
I'm very excited, bro. I'm pumped up. I already know what we're going to talk about. Let's do it.
Let's go. I love it, man. I love it. Hey, so here's really quick. Here's a question I've been asking a couple guys on today's podcast episode. And, give me your best 30, 60 second on this one, if you don't mind. So for the sake of the folks listening and hearing me preface this 3-4 different times, here's the deal. I did a podcast, talked about not selling, how just helping the customer, building a relationship is like the new way to do selling in this world. I don't like the used car sales guy. I don't think anybody does. I don't think that really works in today's market. People are much more educated. But that being said, you still need to close. You still need to ask for the sale. So I know you've sold hundreds, if not thousands of lawn care jobs, landscape jobs, all that mess. You got a great background in sales and marketing. So really simple tee up here. No trick question. Just trying to help some guys that are maybe just getting started in business or are struggling a little bit with the sales process. What is your best pivot, transition, closing line to sell a job, get work scheduled from both maybe even a maintenance client and then also a landscape hardscaping job? Like, what's your go-to line? How do you close?
Yeah, so this is an entire reframing of the mindset, respectfully, carefully. Like I said, very respectfully, it goes back to the assumptive close. From the moment you pick up the phone and you're talking to the customer all the way to the close, whether you're doing a $50 job or a $20,000 landscaping job, your whole attitude the entire time should be of you are already picturing yourself doing the job. You're assuming that you've already got the job, and you're not overstepping any boundaries, but it's a confidence. It's called posture. There's a thin line between wimp and jerk, and that's posture. It's confidence without cockiness. It's respectfulness. So when you're assuming the whole time, now the customer feels that selling is the transferring of a feeling. When the customer can feel, wow, this is a person, they don't want to look anywhere else. So it's really the assumptive close. And when you travel across town to give someone a quote, you're not traveling across town to give them a quote. You're traveling across town to get a signature and a deposit check. And that was already communicated over the phone in the tone of your voice through the assumptive close. You're in this game to close. Are you going to go home to your family and be like, oh, I'm sorry, husband or my wife or husband or dad didn't close the sale today. Like, you don't do that. We're in this business to close, not to waste our time. So be very assumptive in a positive way.
What's your go-to language? Like, give me like a sentence. That's the mindset you're talking about. Like, practical, tactical. What do you say? How do you transition? Maybe on the spot or on the phone. What does that look like for you? What's your go-to?
Yeah, this is NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. You can get some basic training and learn about it with the audiobooks. Tony Robbins talks about this. So if you got a customer who's a little bit hard-nosed and he speaks very direct, like matter of fact, his name's Bob. And maybe you're just more relaxed and soft-spoken. If Bob's saying, well, I want to know what my ballpark is, then you match his tone of voice and say, even if you're a little scared, you're not going to hurt his feelings because that's how he talks. You'd be like, tell you what, Bob, we've done a lot of jobs like this before. You're looking in the ballpark of 7,500 to 10 grand. Does that sound in the ballpark, Bob? Like you match and mirror his tone. Now, if it's a little elderly woman who's like 90 and she's from Scotland, you're not. Tell you what, Chan, you don't talk to her like that. You want to kind of mimic and mirror how they talk, and don't be afraid. Show your teeth is not the right word. Don't be afraid to be a little bit bold with a customer who's also bold. They're going to like that. They're going to step back and be like, wow, I like this guy. He's a hustler. They're going to want to hire you. I've done that with customers, and I've sold $17,000 job on the spot within 20 minutes because of that assumptive mimicking and mirroring and matching. And that's how you can close high ticket clients, through mimicking and mirroring.
Kalfas, where are people messing up? One of my 2 points were people over talking and sharing too much. And then number 2, they're just not asking for the job. They're just not asking for the sale. Which maybe if you have to observed, I know you teach and train and speak on stages, you're all thick into this, we have you coming in this year at LAL for a reason. Where have you noticed folks that could use some extra work? Where are they messing it up?
That's a great question. Okay. So first of all, if you don't know something, don't ever make up a lie and start lying. Customers are very smart. If they're in an $800,000 house, they're probably not dumb, and you don't ever want to take advantage of anybody. So if you don't know the answer to something, you could just say, I don't know. I could find out, but I don't know. And stop talking.
So good.
The customer will go, oh, wow, I like that. You're honest. If you don't know, you don't know. Like, don't ever try to make something up. But another thing is, when a customer is talking, zip your lip. You got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen twice as much as you speak, and listen. The customer wants to feel like not only do you hear them, but you understand where they're coming from. Different customers have different personality types. There's 4 different. There's sanguine, phlegmatic, choleric, and melancholy. So if you understand maybe one customer, they want to talk for 6-7 minutes and talk out all the reasons why, so they can really feel understood. Don't say a word. Just stay present and listen all the way through, and they'll talk themselves right into the sale. And then in order to close it, here's the next thing. This is very important. If you hang out with a customer for an hour, shooting the yap with them and talking, they might get some subconscious reference in their mind. Sorry, I'm driving. Let me pull over. I'm safe though. That, wait a second. Why? Isn't this guy busy? Doesn't he have places to be? If he has time to sit around with me for an hour, he must not be too successful. So it's like, it can actually discredit you to talk to too much to customers. I can go in and sell the same job in literally a third of the time as I used to when I first got started, because I was chatting too much. So if you're quick in your assumptive close, you get to the point, and here's how you close a sale. You kind of got to have like 1 foot out the door the whole time energetically. It's like, hey, I got places to be. Like, I really care about you. Let's wrap this up. I understand what you mean, but I got another appointment. Now, you're not being rude and looking at your watch while they're talking, but they can feel this extemporaneous positive energy that like you got to go. So what that is, you like, hey, I'm pulling out my phone. Don't just start looking at your phone. I'm looking at my calendar right now to see the dates. Like, just assume, all right, I got the 7th, I got the 17th, and the 19th, I could squeeze you in at 9 a.m. We could be here with a 4-man crew. We got a 33% deposit down. You want to go ahead and get it done?
That's it.
Then don't say anything. Say, so you want to go ahead and get this done? All right. So we can get started. Just start assuming all of a sudden and go for the close, because customers want to be closed.
Dude, money. So good, bro. So good. I'm just like sitting here letting you guys speak. I'm trying to use my ears and my mouth in that proportion too. So I'm just trying to listen. Kalfas, you're great at this. I know this is like, you could do this for 2 hours on this podcast, talking about all these tips and nuances and details. And we've had a couple guys share some of those already. Super, super good. And if you guys, I'm telling you, hit, rewind 30 seconds on your podcast app 6 times, 3-4 minutes ago before we got Kalfas on, and listen to some of these tips and suggestions. They can pay huge dividends. The devil's in the details, they say, and you really got to become skilled with people, right? Skilled with people, and learn these personality types and learn the different clientele types and different people on different pay grades. Like, they communicate differently, like Kalfas was saying. So, Kalfas, anything else you want to add? If not, I was just going to add really quick. Could you give me your best 30-second? Why should somebody come check out Launchpreneur Academy Live? We got like 6 weeks, bro. 2 weeks left on the early bird registration until October 2nd, Wednesday. Why should they come on to LAL and hear you speak live?
Yeah, so Launchpreneur Academy is a culture shock, especially if you're in the green industry. That's why you would come. When you show up and you start to settle in, and it's a whole vibe. It feels like a brotherhood. So when you're there, and it's a very open atmosphere where you feel comfortable to talk. I see groups of guys and women standing around talking about things in their business and having breakthroughs that sometimes don't have anything to do with what just happened on stage. It'll trigger something in another conversation. And that's why people keep going back every single year. If you've never been there, you absolutely have to go there. And what you've turned this into is something that I'm sure you're incredibly proud of, and I'm proud of you, and I love it. I'm going to be there. And I'm telling you the truth right now, like, come to the Entrepreneur Academy. It's unlike any other event.
Thanks, brother. I really, really appreciate it. I didn't text Kalfas impromptu, hey, give me your best pitch. Kalfas just shares from the heart, shares from just his soul, man. He can look through you and talk to you and connect like nobody I know. That's why we're getting him to come on back 3, 4, 5 years in a row out of the 5 or 6 years we've been doing this thing. We're always blessed by what he has to share. And again, I'll never forget your speech, Know Your Worth, man, back 2019. I literally, that thing has paid probably tens, if not $100,000 in dividends from just a 20-minute speech that you gave. That's how good, fast, effective, quick, but stuck with me your speeches and your messages are, man. So you're gifted. We love it. Thank you, man. We'll get out of your way. Thanks for taking time to be on the show and share those tips with us today, brother.
Thanks, Brian Fullerton. Peace.
All right. See you, buddy. Okay. Bye.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.
Get ready for the event of the year. L'Entrepreneur Academy Live 2024 is coming to Novi, Michigan, the weekend of November 2nd. Prepare for a high-energy day packed with expert sessions on cash flow management, business automation, client retention, marketing strategies, and so much more. Our powerhouse lineup of speakers includes Sam Rankin, Pat Murray, Ken Deemer, Brian Fullerton, Sam Gimbel, Mark Bradley, and Jeff Joyner. You'll connect with industry leaders, snag incredible giveaways, and skyrocket your business. Plus, don't miss our epic Friday night mixer for top-tier networking and fun. For those who want to enhance their experience, register for our exclusive Sunday Masterclass sessions on November 3rd featuring Jeff Joyner, Mark Bradley, and Sam Gimbel. These intensive 3-hour classes are limited to just 20 seats each, giving you personalized expert advice from the best in the business. Hurry, secure your Saturday tickets for only $249 right on through September 17th. Then the price jumps to $297. Visit l'entrepreneuracademy.com to register and reserve your masterclass spot for an additional fee. Isn't it time you grew your business? Don't miss L'Entrepreneur Academy Live. There's a link in the show description.
Oh, dude, there we go. We're gonna recover this right now because I just hit the record button. Folks, we were 30 seconds into this thing and Caleb was already dropping sauce, right? Okay, so here's the deal. I was catching up with Caleb. He just got out of surgery. What did you have again? Appendixectomy? What is that? I don't even know what that is.
An appendectomy. So I had my appendix removed because it decided it didn't want to be with me anymore, like a Taylor Swift song.
Do you need that? Is that like a vital organ? Forgive me, I'm totally ignorant. No,
it's
why do we have it?
Something that I actually have a theory on what the appendix did way back in the day, but we'll spare you on that.
Okay.
But it's just a thing that's affixed to some part of your intestines mostly, and
sounds good.
Yeah, I started getting real nauseous and just sick, and felt like a knife was stabbing me in the gut for like 5 or 6 hours, and it just got to a point where I was like, man,
something's not right.
This just isn't right. Like, something's not right. And so finally broke down with the ER and like, yeah, you got appendicitis.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I didn't even know. I was loading my own world 2 days ago, and then I'm like, well, they've been quiet today, and shooting some group chats. And then 2 hours ago, I sent a couple text messages to buddies, say I'm going to do a fun podcast later. If I can get you, let me know. And then I sent it to Caleb, and then a half hour later, I went, oh my God, the dude's probably like in surgery, and like on the bed, just recuperating. So too funny. But I was like, what shallow ness of myself. I'm living in my own world over here, So too funny.
Dude, we all got to. Everybody's got too much to do. Nobody gets shy like that. I've just been recovering today, watching YouTube videos, and shop tours, and videos, and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, there you go. What's on your mind? What's going on?
Okay, so here's the deal, really quick. I wanted to get your best sales advice for closing. So let me just tee this up really quick. I did a podcast a couple weeks ago talking about how in today's market, the consumer is entirely different. Like used car salesmen, used RV guys, they don't work too well on most consumers, right? Like nobody wants to be sold, everybody wants to buy. So I've always suggested and said in my sales process, in my sales journey, is I just try to befriend the customer, add value, give them the details, be an open book. I'm like, just want to add value to them. Now, I call it the not sell, not selling, selling. And so here's the deal though. I don't want that they can get confused that you don't need to close, right? Like not selling doesn't mean you don't ask for the close or ask for the sale. So really quickly, I get a couple buddies on today, yourself included. I just simply was asking because you guys are in the thick of it. You're selling jobs all the time. You're in the sales, role for your company. So really simple tee up, no wrong, answer, trick question here. But what is your best go-to pivot, transition, closing line, asking for the sale? Like, what do you and Brittany say when you guys are trying to sell and close a job? That's it.
The biggest thing we have, and my sales journey has also been under a big transition over the last year and a half also. So for us, and especially nowadays too, here we are, Anno Domini, the year of our Lord, 2024. It's not like it used to be from 2016 to 2023, where it's like you just shoot an email across the table and say, screw you, take it or leave it. Those days are over. Now you've got to actually sell, right? You've actually got to. And so the thing we have really tried to make our thing with every job that we want, especially jobs that we want. You know what I mean? There's jobs you're like, yeah, whatever,
right?
Take it, leave it. But us is getting in person when we present the final proposal or when we present, the initial budget or whatever. So we're trying to close, if you will, everything in person. It's a lot. It makes a huge difference now because clients aren't just like, oh, yes, we're happy. Anybody send us a price. Thank goodness we'll take it. That's over with.
Yeah. And I know you've talked about this quite a bit as well. I am sharpening the pencil on quotes, bids, estimates. Many a times I'm asking, hey, if I'm a little high, talk to me. If I'm a little low, talk to me. It's a very more engaged, active sales process than, like you said, 2-3 years ago. We just slide the paper over. Oh, thank God, you're the only person that actually called me back.
Right.
$12,000 for a patio.
Yeah.
I was expecting $6,000, but it is what it is. The other guy said he's booked out for a year. Totally different conversation. So let me ask you this, just to go maybe one more layer deeper. When you're at the dining table or having that second, third, follow-up meeting with that client, what is your go-to close to ask for the sale? How do you guys facilitate from, hey, this is a good idea to, hey, we're going to be your guy?
And this is something I will be completely open. I have never been good at that. I remember I was listening to a Marty Grunder training tape years ago. I mean, I say years ago, gosh, 15 years ago. He was always saying, you should ask for the job, ask for the sale, all that. And I always had a hard time with that, even though I would, it was still, I did it in ways that weren't the most convincing. And I learned that you've got to, like everything, come across convincing, right? Or it's going to be, or confident rather, or, it's going to backfire. So I think the big thing is just asking a lot of questions and just trying to be quiet, right? So it's like, what ultimately do you folks like about this proposal? What parts, if anything, would you strike from it? I've been trying and working my way through so many different elements of this, Brian. I am not the guru, if you will, on this, but I mostly am asking, what parts of this, if anything, would you like to do over the others, or would you like to do the entire thing? And I don't have any one closing thing per se that I'm using, but it's just trying to ask a lot of questions and be quiet is a huge thing. Let there be some silence. But
to be fair, I think you're the third or fourth person on the podcast to say that. Use your ears more than you use in your mouth. Listen. Right. Listen more than talking, because somebody was saying earlier, if somebody's excited, they're going to sell the job. They're going to sell themselves on the job, right? More than you have to.
Right.
So, and let me ask you this: where do you think? Maybe a little bit different question. I've been asking a couple of guys. Where do you think you, candidly or whatnot, as humble as you want to be on this, where do you think you've messed it up the most, or what would you tell your younger self or somebody younger in sales, selling landscape or hardscaping or even maintenance? I know you had a maintenance business back in the day. Where do you think that maybe you have messed it up? I know sometimes the opposite of that question is helpful, kind of strikes a different thought process. Where do you think maybe you've messed up on the sales process and the sales journey over the years? If I don't mind you asking.
Yeah, I would say my biggest thing where I screwed up over the years was just not seeking the right clientele, but it was just like being timid with my sale, and it was just for the longest time I would be maybe to be fully open I would be timid with people I shouldn't be timid with, and I was more bold with people I shouldn't be bold with, right? And so like learning to gauge your client and learning to try to get a feel for what is important to them. And again, that's where a lot of that asking questions comes through. So like I always felt like, man, everyone should have like, an amazing landscape and awesome patio and stuff. And it's like, the reality is not everyone can do that. And so like I was for the longest time seeking out a lot of the wrong clientele anyway, but being more bold with, especially on the landscape design build thing, people are looking to you for answers. And the thing I have learned that I should have been more bold with saying, hey, this is a paver we recommend, this planting and this arrangement and these colors, this is really going to complement your landscape. And I would be too timid with that and and leave kind of things. I thought I was letting the client decide more. And in reality, they're looking for us to guide them through the process.
That's it. Yep. That's huge.
And when I started telling people, guys, this walkway, like I had a client approve a $30,000 front walkway the other day, and I was like, man, they kept talking about budget and how important it was and all this stuff, and so we priced a concrete walkway at like $10,000, and this other walkway, the other walkway was like 25, whatever. And it was like, I can't imagine with them so concerned about budget on this that they're going to do, this other walkway. But I'm like this, but in the description and talking about it, like this paver, this walkway is going to look, it is an incredible feature. It's really going to look amazing and all this stuff. And that's the one they chose, and I couldn't believe it. And it was just a reminder to me of like, don't be timid in proposing to your clients what's going to look awesome, be the most awesome solution. And if it's not what they like, as long as you can keep those lines of communication open and you're gauging that's not going to fly, then you kind of go to plan B of like, well, we can always go to plain gray concrete for a third of this cost, but it's just going to be a plain gray concrete. But then also on that, I also say, again, trying to be the guide of what's most important about even a plain gray sidewalk is the design and the layout. So don't let some concrete guy just come in here and pour you a rectangular walk with a hard 90 turn. Like actually flare out the driveway, flare out the walkway at the driveway. The design, if nothing else, will compensate for a lot of lesser aesthetics. And so if we flare out the concrete at least, and we make the steps at least 6 feet wide, and at least get a couple key points, at least make the plain gray concrete walkway feel awesome. And even if it doesn't look awesome, that's going to compensate a lot for it. And so I still try to just guide through the whole process. And that doesn't always work, but I am finding more and more as we get into hiring clientele through Brian, I have undergone so much evolution of like how I sell and how I go through things. It's absurd. And I'm a little embarrassed to admit that, frankly, at 40 years old and 25 years into my career. But there's just so much we're doing. Like right now, our policy is we won't do a landscape. We won't provide any kind of landscape sketch at all anymore. Like you have to pay us for a full blown design of the property or the front of the house or whatever. And what we're seeing with that, when people commit to spending $500 on a landscape plan for the front half or the whole house, if it's reasonable, we can do that for that fee. We're seeing people that see the value in that. Because that's what we're looking for now. That's our target client. Because that's another thing, Brian. Jeez, dude. I know you said like a 30-second snippet.
No, we're just going to break this into part 2, bro. Thanks for covering 2 shows. You guys laying on in this hospital bed with an IV, and I'm over here drilling him with questions. Wake up, sap. You can't have a day off, So,
no,
you guys got wife and kids,
never a day off.
Wife and kids.
You take a day off, start slipping. But we finally defined, for the longest time, I just couldn't. Everybody's like, you need to define your clients. You need to define your perfect client. And I just never was like, anybody. It used to be like empty nesters for a while. But now our target clientele, our target market is a client. And this will evolve too eventually, but, into probably more niche. But it's like right now we want design referrals. Someone that sees the value in paying for a landscape design. It's a more sophisticated client. It's a more discerning client. that, just doesn't want Joe Schmo landscaper in there. They want someone with a design eye that's going to provide the design. And so we've also targeted. So the other part of that sales thing is just being in front of the right people to even sell to. That's a big deal too. And so we've defined our clientele, people that see value in paying for landscape design from a landscape designer. And that's been helping us. That's been making selling easier, which is crazy. Up front, it's a little hard getting used to your shtick or your spiel or your presentation of like, okay, well, we charge $500 for landscape design. That's like a full set of blueprints, and it's not really blueprints technically anymore. It's it's not that. So and then I excuse myself for being dorking out on it, but I explained that I'm excited to talk about the project and excited to talk about their job and all that. But yeah, target market, target client, whatever the case is, and then being excited about what you're doing too. That's a big deal.
This is good. I'm writing down a topic or the title for the podcast. One's either mastering the sales process or the art of the close. And because you're just literally the more you are talking, I'm thinking, and I we'll get into this maybe after I let you go here. But it's like there's two parts of this, right? Like again, you can ramp up and you're in the sales journey, in the sales process, you and the customer, but then there is a 10-20% of it at the end where you have to land the plane. You have to close. And
you do. Yeah.
And everything, the last 6-minute rant there is like the 80% portion, like the thought process behind it, which is so critical, so vital. I didn't know any of this. I didn't know any of that. I'm still learning, like you just said, about all of this, especially as I get out of my own way, and talk to bigger accounts and bigger numbers and adding zeros on the end of some of these proposals these days. It's phenomenal. So, dude, all great, all amazing. Guys, I've said this probably 2 or 3 times. Forgive me. I'm going to splice a couple of these phone calls into this show here. But I've said it, if not once or twice already, you got to go back and listen to this thing at least once or twice. Every person that we've had on this podcast episode has just had 10, 20, tips in their 5 minutes. And I'm just like, my gosh, that's a 10,000 hour rule game here that we all got to play at mastering the sales process here. So, phenomenal stuff, Caleb. That's all I got really quick. I'll just personally leave it at that, unless there's anything else you want to add or button up with. But dude, super good stuff. And thank you for taking time to pour into us on the show today.
Yeah, buddy. Well, you've just got to work on yourself with all the sales stuff. It's all about you, and it's nothing else is going to improve unless you decide to work on yourself for it. So it's a constant process. So yeah, good luck, folks out there. Go kill it. But I do believe truly you've got to get in front of people now more than ever. It's just you have to sell in person, unfortunately now.
Yeah,
and at least it's in Zoom. But I mean, it's face to face. Because nowadays you're not selling because people are just desperate to get a contractor. You now have to sell yourself, so it's going to take a lot of in-person stuff, and you don't want to waste your time with a bunch of people that aren't interested anyway. So, there's so much to talk about with this stuff. Yeah, geez.
Well, no, last quick thought. You just made me think of something. I saw a reel or a post, at least it was, and I shared it on stories on Instagram. It was something like whoever millennial, or not millennial, Gen Alpha, whatever Gen Alpha like masters the art of, what was it like? Making eye contact and answering the phone or something like that. Like the most remedial things, but like they will be kings in the future economy. Like, and I'm thinking to myself, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's probably the post, but it's like if you are a contractor and if you know how to sell and close in person and have that confidence, like you will print your own income. I'm telling you, but if you think it's going to be the same 2020, 2023-ish kind of season where you just slide a proposal across and on to the next one and people are just paying 20% over sticker on everything, it is not like that right now. It might not be like that for a couple more years. It could bounce back. I don't know, but you got to get good in either type of economy, good or bad, up or down, left or right. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. It's a skill set that'll benefit you no matter what, in anything and in a lot of things in life. So, yeah, 100%. This will be a great episode, man.
Thanks, man. Thank you. All right. Well, hey, man, I'll let you go. Thank you so much for, again, being on the show. Tell the family we said hey, and we'll catch up with you soon, all right?
Likewise. See you.
Okay. See you, brother. Bye. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to land the plane here with that one. Again, I just think there's so many tips for crying out loud that were shared in this 30, 45-minute podcast. There's so much to take away. All the little nuances, all the details, all these guys were sharing different things that have helped them, I would say, master the sales process. Now, again, at the end of the day, here's what I would just say. Not selling is selling. Go back and listen to that episode. It's a good refresher. That's the consumer today. Think about how you're buying things. Do you want to be sold, or do you want to be educated and make an informed decision and buy something? Everybody likes to buy. Nobody likes to be sold. Now, that being said, as we master the close, you do have to ask for the sale. Hey, would you like to get this scheduled? Hey, would you like to get on the list? Hey, would you like to give it a try? Hey, when do you want to get this done? Right? All those different things that all these different guys were sharing, that is the master pivot. You have to realize, and I think Jeremiah even alluded to this, in the sales conversation, the conversation, the exchange, there is a point where it goes from adding value, communicating, and selling, and it does fulcrum, it does tip the tipping point to selling and closing, right? So you have to realize not selling is selling, but then eventually the fulcrum tips and you have to realize you have to close. So not selling is going to get you about 75, 80% of the way there, but the 20% is the sauce. That's where everything is going to come together, and that's where you have to get the close. And that could take 30 seconds, it could take 30 minutes, it could take 3 weeks, depending on the size of the job and the scope of work and everything that's involved and the people and all this other mess. But again, not selling is selling on the front end. On the back end, you do have to ask for the sale. Hey, would you like to get started? Hey, would you like to give this a try? Hey, can we get this scheduled? When do you want it done by? Like, these are some of those power moves that you have to get those reps in. And if you're not going to do it one-on-one in the sales process, actually in front of a customer, that's okay, that's fine. But for the love of God, you're driving around in your truck all day, orate, talk out loud, self-talk, self-speak, and get these reps in. And that way, when somebody asks you a question, you already have your answer ready to go. All right. So get those reps in, get your 10,000 hours in on selling. So many folks that we're just sharing on the podcast have and are, and I invite you guys to do the same. So hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thanks so much for listening, guys. New podcast Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys want to see the video version of everything that we're putting together here, come check out the Brian's Lawn Maintenance YouTube channel. We got all the vlogs and all the how-tos, the training videos, education, and so much more entertainment on the Brian's Lawn Maintenance YouTube channel. Hope to see you guys there. And again, last call, get your tickets for our Entrepreneur Academy Live. We got about 2 weeks left for the pre-sale. And then ticket price does go up. They'll still be available until the week of Entrepreneur Academy. But hey, they're $50 discounted right now, so take advantage of that. And let's get this thing moving. Let's get back up to 300 people. The fervency is building. The excitement is building, you guys can tell. And we can't wait to see you guys there in Novi, Michigan, November 2nd. We'll see you then.
We wanted to take a quick minute to introduce you to some exciting news from LMN. They've recently announced new tiers and pricing for their world-class software, making it more accessible for companies on the grow. LMN Starter is only $297 a month and provides all the essential tools you need to grow. From building your company budget to taking control of your estimating, streamlining your invoicing, and taking the guesswork out of how to price your work, LMN is here to help create a predictable and profitable business. If you're running revenues from $250,000 to $500,000 or more, then it's time to invest in software to meet your growing business needs that was designed by landscapers for landscapers. Mention code Brian when you sign up to receive the white glove, one-on-one onboarding experience and lock in the best pricing available. Take control of your future today with LMN.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.